Tires, 3A Tires, Everton Tires, Lionstone Tires, Sunwide Tires, Kunlun Tires, and Amcol Energy Automotive Batteries in South Sudan, effectively meeting the diverse needs of industries nationwide. Our fully equipped warehouse, capable of holding enough stock for an entire year, ensures we meet customer needs quickly by minimizing lead times and addressing immediate requirements. From periodic oil changes, wheel alignment and balancing, to tire and battery fitment, we've got you covered. Our fully equipped and facilitated auto service center ensures that your vehicle receives top-notch care for all its periodic maintenance needs. Amar's Diesel Services. We specialize in the repair and calibration of diesel injectors and pumps, diesel engine maintenance, and diagnostic services. Our skilled technicians use advanced automated technology to diagnose, repair, and replace parts efficiently. Customer satisfaction is our top priority. As part of customer support, we also deliver to the place of your convenience. Amar's General Trading, better team, better services, better capacity.
President Kiir directs new health minister to addressing medical challenges in the country. African nations convene to address rising cholera prevalence within the continent. And Procurement Authority commits to substantial procurement system. Hello, good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in to SSBC. I am Mathiang Joseph. Breaking a month-long leadership vacuum, President Salva Kiir has instructed the newly appointed Minister of Health, Sarah Kleto-Rial, to spearhead a strategic and decisive action to addressing the country's pressing medical challenges through identifying these challenges and implementing practical solutions with a strong focus on improving the welfare of medical professionals nationwide. SSBC's Alejandro Lotok reports.
I hereby swear by the Almighty God that as the Minister of Health, I shall be faithful, bear true faith and allegiance to South Sudan.
In a move aimed at revitalizing the nation's healthcare system, the President on Wednesday swore in Sarah Kleto-Rial as the new Minister of Health. The ceremony held at the State House marks a turning point in the administration's promise to deliver better health services across the country. Kiir directed Minister Sarah to address the challenges facing South Sudan's healthcare sector, underscoring the need for urgent reforms and improved service delivery. He commended her appointment as well-deserved and timely. He urged her to bring lasting change to the health system while calling on South Sudanese to shun divisions and focus on building a united and peaceful nation.
You deserve the position. We have lived through this. I think from 1983 we have overcome such obstacles. Wish you good health and success.
The interim chairman of the SPLM-IO, Stephen Parkwall, who was present at the ceremony, underscored the importance of the health sector, stressing that it requires effective leadership and undivided attention. Par praised the President for appointing Minister Sarah, noting that her leadership comes at a critical juncture as the nation intensifies efforts to improve healthcare delivery.
I must congratulate our President, General Salva Kiir Mayardit, for appointing the Minister of Health. This ministry has not been managed for a very long time. We had ministers that were relieved, and it took a very long time to fill this vacant position of a very important portfolio, because the Ministry of Health is a ministry of life and death. That the Ministry of Health cannot remain without minister for a long time. So this appointment of Honorable Sarah is timely, and for that I congratulate you and thank you for doing the needful on time.
Representing the community, Dr. Isaac Cleto Rial pledged full support to the new minister, urging her to stay focused and committed to delivering on her mandate.
Community will encourage her to deliver. The country needs really people who are committed to do their part.
In her maiden speech, Minister Sarah expressed gratitude for the trust placed in her and vowed to work diligently to meet the expectations of the people. Sarah further pledged to uphold transparency and accountability in her work, promising a results-driven approach in service to the nation.
And I vow as the minister to be a minister who listens, who acts, and who delivers. And together with our health professionals, scientists, community leaders, and citizens, we will strengthen our system from the ground up. We'll hear the words prevention, equity, mental health, innovations, but this for me will not just be buzzwords. Under my leadership, they will be priorities. We will invest in primary care, expand rural health outreach, combat health misinformation, and prepare for the challenges of tomorrow, including emerging diseases and climate-related health threats. Moment for action and not words alone. So I'm here to work. I will not be talking much, but I will be working. And I pledge to be transparent, accountable, and tireless in my services to you.
Officials say the appointment of Minister Sarah marks a new chapter in the country's ongoing journey to strengthen its health sector and ensure equitable access to quality health care for all citizens. Alejandro Lotok, SSBC News.
In related development, the Vatican continues to support the country's ongoing efforts to promoting peace and stability, crucial steps towards enabling the government to focus on delivering essential services for the social and economic well-being of its people. This follows a meeting between President Salva Kiir Mayardit and the Vatican Apostolic Nuncio to South Sudan, Archbishop Patrick Simas Organ, which centered on fostering national unity, reconciliation, and the Church's active role in peace-building activities. Archbishop Hogan expresses gratitude to President Salva Kiir for his continued support of the Church's mission in the country. In response, President Kiir reaffirmed his unwavering commitment to peace and national cohesion, while acknowledging the Church's vital role in promoting peace and reconciliation among communities.
His Excellency, firstly, for his many gestures around the death of Pope Francis. He's coming to the Nunciature to sign the book. He's coming to the Mass we had in Suffrage. And the declaration by the government of a day of mourning on that occasion. I also wished to thank him for his letter of good wishes to Pope Leo on his election. We discussed a number of bilateral issues between the Holy See and the Republic of South Sudan, but we also discussed the situation here in South Sudan, and I expressed to him, of course, the concern of the Holy Father, the concern of the Holy See for the ongoing situation. The Holy See, of course, is concerned for this.
Still on diplomatic engagement in the country, South Sudan and Turkey continue to deepen their bilateral relations for the mutual benefit of the citizens in both nations. This follows a meeting between the Vice President for the Economic Cluster, Dr. Benjamin Bolmel, and the Turkish Ambassador to South Sudan, Metin Ergen, which centered on strengthening the country's agriculture, trade, and investment sectors for a shared economic development for both nations.
I was able to convey our congratulations and best wishes for his newly assumed, recently assumed duties, and we were able to briefly discuss bilateral issues, including the ratification of trade agreement, the mutual protection of investments, and other instruments of bilateral cooperation, and the ratification of the trade agreement, conclusion of the mutual protection of investments agreement will enable us to seriously increase the potential for cooperation in the economic area. And I was much encouraged by the comments of His Excellency, and this will be quite a boost.
In response to rising cholera cases across several African countries, 20 African nations have convened for an intensive virtual presidential summit aimed at strengthening cross-border coordination in the fight against the disease. The summit, chaired by Zambian President Hakainde Hichilema, brought together heads of state and government to addressing the worsening health crisis which has particularly impacted South Sudan. Vice President Joseph Lago represented President Kiir at the summit, which reaffirmed the country's commitment to expanding access to oral cholera vaccines and protecting vulnerable populations, stressing the government's efforts to allocating emergency resources, enhancing cross-border disease surveillance, and enforcing accountability across all relevant public institutions. The current chairperson of the African Union, Angolan President João Manuel Lourenço, also participated in the meeting, underscoring the continental urgency to containing the outbreak and saving lives in the continent.
I'm honored to address you today on behalf of my President of South Sudan, General Salva Kiir Mayardit. I extend sincere appreciation to the organizers for preparing this critical dialogue on cholera situation in Africa. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as we are all aware that our continent faces more than 100 health emergencies every year, ranging from disease outbreaks to natural and man-made disasters. It is obvious that the impact of the current cholera outbreak has now reached the level of becoming a major continental threat, and particularly in our region. In South Sudan, cholera has been a recurring crisis, with the current outbreak, which began in September 2024, and being the largest outbreak the country has ever witnessed. To strengthen and enhance response efforts, the government established task forces at both national and state levels to coordinate a multi-sectoral response to control and prevent further spread. The people of South Sudan are counting on our collective unity, speed, and resolve to prevent further spread and loss of lives. As government of South Sudan, we commit to 1. Strengthening cross-border coordination and collaboration in the fight against cholera. 2. Mobilizing additional resources to support preparedness and response. 3. More investment in water, sanitation, and hygiene. 4. Advocacy for increased access to oral cholera vaccines for effective protection.
Now, stakeholders convened to address challenges facing the operation of Weighbridge at the Nimule border crossing. The Vice President for the Infrastructure Cluster, Taban Dengai, highlights the importance of the Weighbridge in safeguarding road infrastructure in the country. SSBC's Amir Mayom reports.
Nearly 4 months since the inauguration of the first ever South Sudan's Weighbridge at Nimule, representatives from the stakeholders management team from various institutions have assembled in Juba to evaluate the operations of the Weighbridge. The Vice President and the Chairperson of the Infrastructure Cluster, Taban Dengai, underscores the importance of the Weighbridge in safeguarding road infrastructure in the country.
Weighbridge actually is a government work. It's not about bringing revenue. It's about protecting infrastructure in form of roads. But because the government could not finance Weighbridge and the road is being destroyed, and for your information, recently I was with the minister. We took a journey from Juba up to Barghazal, up to Bantu by roads. But the road to Barghazal is under challenge. We need a Weighbridge very soon in that road. Because
the National Minister of Roads and Bridges, Simon Mijuk Mijak, asserts the ministry will spare no effort to guarantee the newly installed Wedge Bridge in Nimli is operating smoothly. He says South Sudanese engineers are to be trained to overtake the operations of the Wedge Bridge.
This is number one Wedge Bridge. We still have 5. It's a long journey, as our technical have already shown us the modest Wedge Bridge was imported from Czech Republic, and they are ready to supply more as we continue our journey to build a modern system.
Creating public awareness among local communities and logistic companies about the newly installed Wedge Bridge management systems in the border town of Nimli is imperative. The chairperson of the Transitional National Legislative Assembly, Specialized Committee of the Roads and Bridges, Christine Napoy Peter, stresses educating the public on the newly technology.
We as Parliament will try to also play our role to disseminate information about this bridge. As it was stated earlier, this is an asset of the government. The road, without a road, there can never be any service. For you even to survive, you need a road.
The Ministry of Trade and Industry is a stakeholder benefiting from the Wedge Bridge in Nimli. According to the Director General of External Trade, Stephen Doctor, it is important to install more Wedge Bridge along highways in South Sudan.
Now, this Wedge Bridge is very important for us in the trade because it controls the crossing of those roads. Now, the roads outside Juba are also suffering from these trailers, suffering from this. Now, they said there is a resistance somewhere in the Nimli. Yes, there is a resistance, simply because most of these waybills and these roads are not used by Southerners, by the way. They are used mostly by foreigners.
The Chief Executive Officer of GS Group, Girma Shifaru, says the company is determined to implement the Wedge Bridge project fully despite the challenges.
We have committed ourselves and honored the contract. We remain committed, and we still have a confidence that this is one of the challenges along the way is going to be addressed soon. So this is the major challenge we have. The collection of $40 was being collected and is not remitted to our account.
The public-private partnership model that has been applied in constructing and administering the Wedge Bridge in Nimli has approved the provisions and beneficiaries. The government is not financially burdened. South Sudanese members of staffs assess hands-on training opportunities to build national skills. Amir Mayom, SSBC.
Now let's go to the Kenyan capital, Nairobi, where South Sudan's newly appointed ambassador to Kenya, Anthony Louis Kon, has assured his host country of his commitment to fostering regional cooperation in key areas such as security, infrastructure, education, trade, and integration. Kont made these remarks during his accreditation ceremony presided over by the Kenyan President William Ruto at the State House in Nairobi. Here is a report.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, I have the honor to present to you Mr. Anthony Ruiz Kon, Ambassador Designate of the Republic of South Sudan.
Donned in a ceremonious suit and walking confidently on a red carpet, Anthony Louis Kon approaches Kenyan President William Ruto, marking his official accreditation as South Sudan's ambassador to Kenya during a state occasion. In his address, Ambassador Kon expresses his deep appreciation to Kenya for its long-standing bilateral cooperation with South Sudan. He acknowledges the historical and shared ties between the two countries. Bonds, he says, will continue for generations to come. Kon affirmed his commitment to implementing directives of President Salva Kiir, particularly in reshaping the country's foreign policy and diplomatic representation for the benefit of the South Sudanese people.
I convey to Your Excellency the warm greetings and the best wishes of our President, our government, and the people of South Sudan. Kenya and South Sudan share a deep and historical relationship built on solidarity, mutual respect, and a shared vision for peace and development. Kenya's unwavering support during our liberation struggle at the birth of our nation and in the pursuit of peace has been invaluable.
Kenyan President Ruto officially welcomed Ambassador Kon, encouraging him to work diligently not only for his country but also for the broader region, stressing the importance of peace, unity and cooperation as essential pillars for social and economic development in the region.
I, William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, by dint of Article 132(4)(b) of the Constitution of Kenya, do accept your letters of credence and authorize you to pursue the interests of your government within Kenya's territory by fostering the bonds of friendship and promoting to the widest possible within the law the mutual aspirations of the peoples of our two nations.
Ambassador Kon is one of 4 diplomats recently appointed by President Kiir to lead a more proactive and dynamic diplomatic engagement to promote the country's global concentrations. The ceremony also featured the raising of the South Sudanese flag and the playing of the national anthem, symbols of official recognition and national pride. Following his accreditation, Ambassador Kon was warmly received at the South Sudanese embassy residence amid hope for improved services and decisive action to addressing the challenges facing the South Sudanese citizens living in Kenya. Reporting for SSBC News, Mathiang Joseph. Governor Dr. Rigathi Gachagua of Jonglei State, in his meeting with Presidential Advisor on National Security Affairs, Madud Dudial, has described political and security situation in Jonglei State as calm, with the local communities actively engaging in farming activities across the state. During the discussions, Governor Gachagua disclosed his plans to hold a peace and reconciliation conference for both Jonglei and Pibor communities, targeting youth, intellectuals, and traditional leaders to foster peace, unity, and tranquility to ensure socio-economic development of the region. Advisor Dudial expresses his support to the stability of the region.
السيد مستشار رئيس الجمهورية للشؤون الأمنية أخونا مدود دود. الاجتماع كان مثمر، نورناه عن برامج السلام في ولاية جنغولي، ونقدر نقول ونبشر أهلنا في جنوب السودان إنه الأوضاع في جنغولي خاصة الأوضاع بتاعة السلام مستقرة، وكل المجتمعات قبلت رسالة بتاع السيد رئيس الجمهورية إنه الناس تعيش في سلام وفي أمان. بقى في سلام حقيقي بين مرلة وجيرانهم في بور. وكنت في زيارة لإدارية بيبور، والشباب بتاع بيبور أكدوا لنا التمسك بتاعهم بسلام. وكنا في مقاطعات الشمالية لولاية جنغلة، التقينا بكجور مكوجتوت، لبى النداء بتاع السيد الرئيس إنه لازم يشتغل لسلام والناس تعيش في سلام. فالدنقة بتاع دوك والدنقة بور والدنقة بتاع توجيس والقاور في أيوت واللو في 3 مقاطعات بتاعتهم نيرول كوبو وورور هم لبوا نداء بتاع السلام. فبعد أيام بنعمل اجتماع كبير ل5 مقاطعات، مقاطعة بتاعت جمرك في إدارية بيبور، ومقاطعة بتاعت بور، ومقاطعة بتاعت دوك، ومقاطعة بتاعت أيوت، ومقاطعة بتاعت ورور. هم راح يجتمعوا في منطقة جاي رئاسة مقاطعة ورور، وراح يكون في مشاركة من كل ال5 مقاطعات ديل، متمثلة في شباب بتاعهم، خاصة الشباب الماسكين المراحات، وهم الناس المعنيين بأمر الهروبات والسلام في المنطقة. ويكون في تمثيل للمرأة والسلاطين والأجهزة الأمنية في المقاطعات ديل. فدي نقطة تحول كبير، وشواهد كثيرة حصلت في الجملة بيثبت تمسك بتاع المواطن
Now, reverting your attention to the country's education sector, the government and the World Bank have renewed commitment to developing more efficient education facilities across the country as part of bolstering World Bank funded educational projects aimed at enhancing access to inclusive and quality education for refugees and improving social cohesion between refugees and host communities. SSBC's Mario Solomon reports.
The National Ministry of General Education and Instructions and partners are working jointly to guarantee no child is denied access to education. Accordingly, the government and partners, particularly group, are coordinating activities in integrating refugees and internally displaced persons in the education system with their host communities. A joint delegation led by the Minister of General Education and Instructions, Dr. Kiog Abol Kiog, from the ministry and the World Bank is touring Rang County to assist in infrastructural development program in a number of public schools and a teacher training center. David Lowella, Director General of Primary and Secondary School in the National Ministry of General Education, says Rang County is one of the counties hosting a large number of refugees, prompting the government to develop a strategy for providing comprehensive education service in areas hosting refugees.
Upper Nile, Rang County, is one of the places where it is thickly populated with refugees and returnees coming from Sudan. And then we cannot leave these children to go without education, because according to the report from county education director, it says a class is going over 200. A class is 45, 50 maximum. So we thank World Bank for this initiative, together with the Ministry of General Education and Instruction, to make constructions of schools or renovation of schools in this county.
Rang County Education's Director, Alier Kurshol, says the Department of Education in the county is focused on improving education generally, but especially technical education.
نحن كإدارة التعليم بالمقاطعة قاعدين نهتم وخاصة في الجوانب الفنية في التوجيه وفي مراقبة المعلمين. تصبروا لأن أنتم صبرتوا يمكن ناس ماشيين لسنتين السنة الثانية في هذا المدرسة، والسنة الجاية لما تيجوا هتيجوا تلقوا المدرسة دي بصورة مختلفة.
The World Bank Group representative Aaron Kisha says the project includes school rehabilitations, teacher training, and financial incentives.
The project looks forward to rehabilitating 200 schools in 6 states and 1 administrative area. There will be the component of rehabilitation of damaged infrastructure like classrooms, equipping with desks, which basically entails training of teachers that are able to offer quality education to the students. Because the project will support capitation grants for about 2 years, and this will also support the payment of teachers. Not necessarily payment in terms of salaries, but incentives.
Upper Nile State government seized the opportunity of this visit to appeal to the national government and development partners to support the education sector in the region. For SSBC News, Mario Sulaiman.
Now, gender authorities and development partners are validating the country's child participation framework document. The program, supported by Save the Children organization, is focusing on promoting the rights of children and young people in the country. SSBC's Abate Simon Godo has more.
The program is set to portray the concern that there is nothing for the children without the children's participation. The acting National Minister of Gender, Child and Social Welfare, Esther Ikere Elozai, urged all levels of governments, communities and other stakeholders to adhere to the call of addressing challenges on child effectively through inclusive participation.
We are promoting it at the national, at the state, at the counties, and then now in the schools. That will make a positive impact in this country. You will be able to see that if this structure is established, we will have children having the platform to sit, discuss their issues, and address concerns that affect them in the country.
The country director of Save the Children South Sudan office, Christopher Nyamandi, asked all stakeholders to child development to act now for better children.
We can develop all the guidelines and policies, but it is you who will make the implementation work. We can spend time talking in Juba, we can spend time talking in Warab, in Waru, in Bor, in the capitals, but it is in the counties, it is in the Payams where the work is going to really happen.
The representative of states and administrative areas ministers of Gender, Child and Social Welfare, Rose Anyang Deng, who is also a state minister of Gender, Child and Social Welfare for Warab State, urged all parents and any adults in a given society to support children both mentally and physically.
We will own it and practice it because the country is ours and the children also belong to us. Regardless the challenges that we have to stand firm and have a roof and trust in our soul that no one should come and change for us the nations. It is all our responsibility.
The children representative, Jock Ajit Solomon, asked leaders and parents to support the children grow with all that is good for them.
We are also able to create a room in children and know who they are and the value they hold. Because at the end of the day, if we don't have a generation that is being well taken care of, we are most likely creating a world or a future that we are not able to keep for children.
The all-over purpose of this framework is to ensure better levels of participation of children across all settings so that their rights to participate in matters affecting their lives is fulfilled. Abate Simon Godo, SSBC.
In a significant move to implement the procurement system across the country, the Public Procurement and Disposal and Assets Authority is conducting a 2-day program to equip participants with procurement guiding principles and procedures, as well as mechanisms of handling bidders' complaints towards enhancing transparency and accountability within financial institutions. SSBC's Abraham Aken reports.
This program, according to Procurement Authority's leadership, enabled South Sudan's business community participate effectively in several business opportunities created by registering with authority in accordance with its 2018 Act as provided.
For the seminar of today, we are going to focus on how to implement the tools of procurement system.
With presentations focusing now on reviewing the progress made in the public procurement and disposal of assets system in the country, the authority says it remains dedicated to its mandate of mitigating high expenditures within government institutions.
You will use the legality that we have achieved.
In his opening remarks at the function, the Deputy Minister of Finance and Planning, Bejo Janyak, says implementation of procurement procedures would pave way for good governance and public accountability.
When procurement is weak, budget capability suffers. When procurement is opaque, corruption thrives. But when procurement is transparent, efficient, and rules-based, we can ensure that our national budget delivers real value to our citizens. As we gather here today, let us recommit ourselves the principles of good governance, fiscal discipline, and public accountability. Let this working session between the business community and the government not just be another meeting, but the beginning of a renewed focus on procurement integrity.
The authority's chairperson of Board of Directors, Ayi Bolakol, outlines the achievements, including creation of official website where information could be found easily, appreciating public financial management and institutional strengthening project for supporting the procurement and disposal of assets system in the country.
The setting of website, tender portal, and online providing essential system is a very big achievement for the Republic of South Sudan. It set up us in a similar path as other of the East African community. While other countries have fully fledged e-procurement system, we see ourselves in the right track to that direction through the utilization of these developed resources. Let me take this opportunity.
The Executive Director of Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets Authority, Deng Akwekak, expressed his commitment to implementing the tools of procurement system in line with the authority's 2018 Act.
We are going to focus on how to implement the tools of procurement system, such as PPDA Act 2018. This PPDA authority is part of the agreement that was signed in 2018. And the peace is not only to silence the guns, the peace also is go beyond to establish the government system. So is the one that we are doing it now.
The Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets Authority Act was passed by Parliament in 2018, which led to its creation in 2023 in a decree issued by President Kiir to oversee procurement system in the country. Abraham Aken, SSBC News, Juba.
That's it from me and the team. I am Mathiang Joseph, and thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned for more programs coming up.